My fiancé dumped me for a crypto mogul, so I bought their wedding venue and canceled the cake. She looked me in the eyes and said, I just think he has more potential. Translation? She was leaving me for a crypto mogul, flashy car, big promises, loud lifestyle. 3 months later, I received a wedding invitation, her wedding, to him. What they didn't know. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I invested. And the venue they booked for their dream wedding? Yeah, I owned it. Welcome back to the channel. This one is about betrayal, ego, and the kind of revenge that comes with a signed contract. But before we dive in, where are you watching from right now? Drop your country and city in the comments. I love seeing how far this community reaches across the world. And if you enjoy shocking relationship drama, billionaire-level comebacks, and stories where karma shows up perfectly on time, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Trust me, this wedding didn't go the way they planned. Sarah and I had been together for 5 years. I wore flannel, drove a truck, and told her I worked in property management. She thought that meant I fixed toilets. A month before our wedding, she left a note on the kitchen table saying she had outgrown our life. She'd met Julian, a guy who wore velvet blazers, talked about Web3, and promised her a life of private jets. She didn't just dump me, she moved our wedding date up and kept the same venue, bragged about how Julian was actually successful. She thought she was trading up from a loser to a legend. She didn't realize that I don't just manage property, I own the Vanderbilt Estate where she's getting married. And Julian, he's not a mogul, he's a tenant who's 3 months behind on his rent. I'm standing in the lobby of the estate. Sarah walks in, draped in designer shopping bags, looking at me like I'm a ghost. Leo, what are you doing here? Sarah laughed, clutching Julian's arm. Are you following me? Look, I know it's hard to see me with someone who can actually provide, but this is a private club. You probably can't even afford the valet fee. Please don't make a scene. Julian has a reputation to uphold. Julian stepped forward, adjusting his fake gold watch. Is there a problem here, buddy? If you're looking for a job, the kitchen is around back. Otherwise, get lost before I have you removed. I pulled a thick manila folder from my bag. I didn't look at Sarah. I looked straight at Julian. Julian, right? CEO of Apex Crypto, I asked. Funny thing, I was just reviewing the commercial leases for the penthouse downtown. The tenant there, also in Apex Crypto, is currently facing eviction for non-payment. And the credit card you used for the $50,000 wedding deposit, it was declined this morning. The color drained from Julian's face. Sarah looked between us, confused. Julian, what is he talking about? You said you owned that building. He doesn't own the building, Sarah, I said, handing the folder to the venue manager who had just walked up. I do. And as the owner of this estate, I have a policy against hosting events for people with delinquent accounts. The venue manager looked at the papers, then at me, then at the happy couple. Mr. Vance, I apologize. We didn't realize the primary account holder was, well, you. What would you like us to do with the flowers and the catering? Donate the food to the local shelter, I said. And as for the guests, send them home. Tell them the groom's crypto crashed. Sarah grabbed my arm, her voice shaking. Leo, wait, you can't do this. The dress, the guests, my family is coming from out of town. We can work this out. I didn't mean those things I said. You meant every word, Sarah? I replied, gently removing her hand. You wanted a man with assets. Well, here they are. I'm the one with the estate, the penthouse, and the clean credit. Julian here is just a guy with a rented blazer and a mountain of debt. You didn't upgrade. You fell for a scam because you were too busy looking at the price tag to notice the person. I walked out to my truck as the security team began escorting a crying Sarah and a silent Julian off the property. People think being rich is about the loud clothes and the big talk, but real wealth is the ability to say no to people who only loved you for what they thought you had. Sarah wanted a fairy tale wedding. I gave her a reality check. And honestly, the loser's life never felt so good. Julian stepped forward, puffing out his chest. He adjusted the sleeve of his velvet blazer, making sure his oversized diamond-encrusted watch caught the light. Sarah's hand was tucked firmly under his arm, her eyes filled with a mix of pity and annoyance as she looked at my work boots. Is there a problem here, champ? Julian asked, flashing a practiced shark-like grin. If you're here to beg for your security deposit back on the original date, forget it. Sarah's with a high roller now. I don't mind paying a premium to move the date up. Now go find a lawn to mow and stay away from my bride. I didn't flinch. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a sleek black titanium card, not a credit card, but the master key to the Vanderbilt Estate. That's interesting, Julian, I said, tapping the card against the marble check-in desk. Because the premium you promised the venue was supposed to be wired 3 days ago. I was just in the back office with the accountants. It seems your wire transfer didn't fail due to a bank error like you told them. It failed because the account has a balance of $14.12. Sarah let go of his arm like it was on fire. Julian, what is he talking about? You showed me your portfolio. You said you were a whale. He's a whale in a dry desert, Sarah, I said, handing a printout to the venue manager who had just rushed over. Julian, you've been using a demo account to fake your screenshots. And that penthouse you've been taking her to? It's a sublease owned by my holding company. I signed your eviction notice this morning. The venue manager's eyes went wide as he looked at the documents, then at me. Mr. Vance, I am so sorry. We were told the owner was away on business. We didn't realize you were personally overseeing the Sarah/Julian file. I like to keep an eye on my investments, Greg, I said, and Julian here is a bad debt. The lobby of the estate fell deathly silent. Sarah looked at Julian, then at the venue manager who was now standing with his hands behind his back waiting for my orders. Julian, Sarah whispered, her voice cracking. Tell him he's lying. Tell him about the private jet to the Maldives. Tell him. Julian didn't look at her. He was staring at the marble floor, his Mogul bravado melting away like cheap wax. The market took a hit, Sarah. It's just a temporary liquidity issue. It's not a liquidity issue, Julian. It's a character issue, I said, stepping toward them. I turned to the venue manager. Greg, cancel the champagne, send the floral arrangements to the local children's hospital, and the 5-course dinner? Package it up for the homeless shelter downtown. Let's make sure someone actually benefits from this disaster. Leo, please. Sarah grabbed my sleeve, her eyes filling with tears. My parents are already at the hotel. The dress cost $12,000. You can't just shut us down. We were going to get married in 2 hours. No, Sarah, I said, gently but firmly removing her hand. You were going to marry a lifestyle. You traded a man who loved you for a man who leased a version of himself. You wanted the Vanderbilt Estate? Well, you're standing on it, but the gates are closing. I looked at Julian, who was currently trying to ignore the security guard pointing toward the exit. By the way, Julian, the velvet blazer? The tags are still tucked under the collar. Make sure you don't sweat in it. I'm sure the rental shop wants it back in one piece. I walked out the front doors and climbed into my truck, the one Sarah used to call an embarrassment. As I pulled down the long gravel driveway, I saw them in the rearview mirror. Sarah was standing in the rain, clutching her designer bags, while Julian was frantically trying to call an Uber that he probably couldn't afford. People think a wedding is about the venue and the mogul status, but a marriage is about the person standing next to you when the lights go out. Sarah wanted a billionaire. She had one. She just didn't have the heart to see him through the flannel. I put the truck in gear and didn't look back. The estate was finally quiet.